All right, y'all. This is Love and Hip Hop New York. This is season 8, episode 14. So this is like part 2 of the St. Martin trip or whatever. Safari and Jacquay, they're like on their dirt bikes on the beach, and they start to have a conversation, and Safari is telling Jacquay about Anais going off on Yandy when they was feeding the kids and everything. And Jacquay talks about how Anais has been flirting with him. And Jacquay talks about the fact that Cayenne is supposed to be flying in, and with Bree being on the trip as well. And you guys remember, Jacquay considers Bree to be like a sister to him, and Cayenne being his woman. And he notices that everybody seems to have an issue with Bree, like she's the common denominator. And so, Safari is just like, well, just sit them down or whatever, let them hash that shit out. So then Bree and Jacquay meet up at this restaurant, and he's telling her about Cayenne, saying, yeah, Cayenne, that's my girl and everything. And she's like, wait a minute, Cayenne from Instagram? And I'm like, wait a minute, if this supposed to be your sister and stuff, why is she just now finding out on the trip that, you dating Cayenne or whatever? But anyway, so, Bree, she's telling her side of the story about her beef with Cayenne or whatever. She's saying how she posted like some dope lyrics online, I think like on Instagram or whatever, and then Cayenne left some hateration, holleration in in Bree's comment section. And so yeah, like I said, that's her version, I guess, of their beef and everything. And so Bree, she does give Cayenne's, she gives her props or whatever about her rapping skills, but she feels as though Cayenne been spreading some bullshit about her, some rumors and everything, and she ain't with the fuck shit. So as they're having this conversation, Cayenne walks up and everything, and she's kind of shocked because she didn't expect Bree to be there. She didn't know about this meeting and everything. And you guys know how I feel about shit like that. Y'all know I don't like shit like that. If I don't like somebody or whatever, and you trying to get me to have a sit down with them, don't sit up here and ambush me like that. You know what I mean? Ask me first, and if I'm not with the shit, then don't do that shit. But anyway, so Cayenne is asking Bree, like, where you know me from or whatever. And Bree is like, I mean, I only know you from Instagram and everything. And Cayenne is like, so you said you taught me how to rap or whatever, this, that, and the third. And Bree is like, I'm not here to answer that question and everything. And Cayenne is like, so what is we here for? And so then Cayenne is just kind of saying, listen, I don't really want no issues or whatever. And all of a sudden they kind of start going back and forth, or a little bit or whatever. And they showed like a clip of Bree actually talking shit about Cayenne and everything, like on her Instagram live. And then Bree sitting up here questioning who got Cayenne pregnant and this, that, and the third, when Cayenne, was pregnant with her baby. And so, Cayenne is like, don't ever bring up my child or my pregnancy or whatever. And, Bree is like, I never brought up your kid. And, Cayenne is like, okay, well, put that on your grandmother. And so Bree, she does. She's like, I put that on my grandma. Like, I ain't talk about your kid. I ain't talk about your pregnancy, this, that, and third. And then Cayenne is like, buy the flowers because she's about to die. I was like, wait the fuck a minute. And of course, that's a touchy subject for Bree because we know that her grandma has been sick and everything, this, that, and the third. So she attempts to try to flip the table on Cayenne. She was struggling. And Cayenne was just sitting there or whatever, and then she hops up trying to get at Bree and everything, this, that, and the third. And Jacquay, he's just shocked and embarrassed or whatever, and he's trying to tell Cayenne to calm down, and she's like, nah, fuck that, like, Jacquay, you're gonna come with me and everything. And Jacquay like, nah. And he walking away, this, that, and the third. And next thing Cayenne on the beach and everything, and I guess she was still trying to get at Bree and everything, because she all running around looking wild and this, that, and the third. Now, I'm gonna say this. you guys know how I always say, when you in an argument with somebody that, you don't like, anything just kind of goes. But I'm gonna say this. I do feel like Bree is the type of person that will say shit and hide her hand. Like I said, we already saw from the clip that they showed or whatever, Bree talking her mess about Cayenne, and then on her little Instagram story, she was saying, who got Cayenne pregnant, this, that, and the third. So we know that she talked about her pregnancy, questioning who her baby daddy was or whatever, this, that, and the third. Of course, we're not too for certain if she talked about her kid or not, but I'm willing to bet that she probably did, because like I said, Bree just seems like that type of person that will say some shit and then try to hide her hand and like play the victim a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But I will say, in this moment, in this argument, Cayenne was wrong. She shouldn't have did that. Because I feel like the situation it didn't get to that point where Cayenne should threw that shit out there like that. You feel what I'm saying? And I hope I'm making sense. I hope you guys are understanding what I'm trying to say, how I'm trying to explain my stance on the situation. But yeah, Cayenne was wrong. She was wrong for doing that. But like I said, Bree does seem like the type of person that will say some fuck shit to you first. But then when the shit thrown back at her, she want to, run and cry and hide her hand and everything and try to play victim. But anyway, so like I said, Cayenne was still wilding out even when she was on the beach and everything. Security, escorted her out the restaurant, this, that, and the third, and that was that. So then we get Cayenne and Mariah. Cayenne comes to Mariah's room, and she's telling Mariah, what happened with Bree and everything. And Cayenne, she's like, listen, I wanted to back her into a corner. So, I threw her grandma out there, because that's something that's somebody that's important to her. I told her to, swear on her grandma and everything, this, that, and the third. And, she was lying. She was, backpedaling and pussy popping, as, James Caldwell would say. She was backpedaling and pussy popping. So, I told her, buy the flowers or whatever because she's about to die. And Mariah was like, oh, girl, no, you was wrong for that. You know I love you and everything, you my friend, but you was dead ass wrong for that. And that was cool for Mariah to, tell her the real instead of, co-signing or whatever. I feel like had it been Bianca probably would have been laughing and co-signing to the shit, But Cayenne, she's like, listen, I know I was wrong for that shit, I didn't mean it like that and everything, but she was, she was lying or whatever. So, but I do feel bad about saying that. So, Jacquay, he's at the door, whatever, because Mariah called him, or I think Mariah called him, or he called her. Something like that had happened. And so Mariah had told him that, Cayenne was going to be coming to her room and everything. So Mariah leaves the room so they can have a conversation. And Cayenne, she apologizes or whatever. She knew that she was wrong to say what she said to Bree or whatever. And Jacquay, I guess he's starting to kind of have second thoughts a little bit, because he's like, this is not the only incident with you popping off and doing the most or whatever. And, she's like, so what you expect me to do? To just sit there and take the shit or whatever and just continue to be the big person and everything? And he was like, I mean, it ain't nothing wrong with being the bigger person or whatever. So, they hood ass relationship. Instead of kissing and making up, they dap and make up or whatever. Like they homeboys or some shit. And, she asked where he stayed the night before, because he didn't come. She had to get a hotel room by herself. He didn't come to the room with her and everything. And he makes up this lie talking about he met up with some friends or whatever, and, leave it at that. So then, their last day in St. Martin, Yandy decides to have this dinner or whatever. Jacquay decides, since Bree is going to be at the dinner and everything, and after what just happened between her and Cayenne, he going to, leave Cayenne at the room or whatever. So everybody else comes to the dinner. Yandy is selling juju and Bree and Jacquay and all of them about, and Jonathan, about, what happened with Anais and everything, and her confronting her or whatever. Um, her confronting her the next day after, they had got to St. Martin or whatever. Y'all remember Anais tripping. I mean, Anais, well, yeah, she was kind of tripping. She's sitting here drinking cocktails and, all up in her bikini and everything, instead of, trying to help out or whatever. But anyway, so yeah, like I said, she's telling them that Anais confronted her about that. She felt some type of way about that, whatever, whatever. And Jonathan is like, yeah, I went to Anais's room and she wasn't there. And Jacquay was like, she was with me. And they all looked at him like, say what now? Like, she was with you. Shit. Sorry, y'all. But he was like, yeah, she was with me or whatever, this, that, and the third, nothing happened and everything. And, somehow they get on the subject about the situation between Bree and Cayenne. Bree tells them about what Cayenne said, and they was like, "Oh no, that was messed up." And Jacquay is like, "Yeah," and I told Cayenne that she was wrong and whatever, whatever. So Anais, she shows up and everything, and she confirms that nothing happened between her and Jacquay or whatever. And Yandy and Anais, they start going at it again and everything, this, that, and the third. So Safari, he decides to stir the pot or whatever, and was saying, what happened between, so what was going on between you and Anais, bruh, and everything. And Anais is like, if y'all going to continue to make me feel uncomfortable, I'm not going to be here and deal with this bullshit or whatever. So she gets up from the table and leaves. And it's just like, girl, whatever. Like, don't nobody care at this point. So then Mariah, she comes or whatever. And, she talks about, how she knows about the drama between, with Cayenne and everything, and how she just don't got time for that. And so Yandy, she talks about Bianca. She's like, she's, Bianca's not here. She's on a timeout and everything, this, that, and the third. And Bree, she's like, thank God or whatever. And Mariah's like, yo, you sitting up here rolling your eyes and stuff like that, and my best friend is not here and everything like that. Shit is not cool. And so, Bree, sarcastically, she's like, whatever I did, I'm so sorry, whatever I did to you or whatever. And Mariah is like, long as you keep on kicking that static, you won't keep on getting it thrown back at you and everything. And Bree is like if you would mind your business, sometimes we wouldn't have these problems and everything. I said, hold on, wait a minute now. Mariah was minding her motherfucking business. She was minding her motherfucking business. Your friend Dream Doll started all that bullshit with y'all and everything. So Mariah is like, you should think before you come for another bitch when your mom is in the same predicament as mine. And because you guys know Mariah's, y'all remember her mom had been a drug addict and this, that, and the third. So, I guess apparently Bree's mom is on or was on drugs too. I think she did tell us that in the beginning of the season, but child, I don't even know at this point. I'm just like, y'all know I've been over this season and we still got another episode. Like, I don't really know when this shit goes off, y'all, but I'm sorry, let me get back to it. But anyways, so Bree is saying, my mom is clean and sober. And Mariah is like, mine is too, bitch. So what is you saying? And they just going back and forth. Safari, he's over it. He gets up from the table. Jacquay gets up from the table too. And Mariah is like, listen, I'm just comparing our situations. You know what I'm saying? And Bree, she's getting in her emotions and it's like, okay, they both beautiful and sober. Leave them out of it and everything. And like I said, Bree is starting to get emotional. And Yandy is even telling Bree, like, listen, Mariah wasn't coming at you crazy, like she's just saying both of y'all moms are, in the same situation or whatever, like she wasn't coming at you on no fuck shit. You gotta stop letting everything get to you. And so Bree is like, listen, I never had issues with you or whatever. I just felt like you was jumping into the situation that had nothing to do with you. Once again, that wasn't Mariah's doing, but Okay, and so she apologizes to Mariah, whatever, this, that, and the third. And Mariah's like, listen, from here on out, we ain't got no issues, it's good, it's squash. And Mariah's like, she knows Bianca is gonna feel some type of way, but she just gotta deal with that, when the time comes or whatever. And I was about to say something, but I guess I'll just wait until Mariah and Bianca, I guess, whenever they have a conversation. But all I'm gonna say is Bianca shouldn't be upset about that. But anyways, so we get the Creep Squad and the whole Creep Squad, including Rich. The last few times Rich ain't been a part of they little shindigs or whatever. So they at like some club or some hookah lounge, I guess, whatever. And they looking at some belly dancer and everything, and they want the tea from Safari and Jacquay about the St. Martin trip or whatever. So Jacquay tells them about the situation with Cayenne and Bree and everything, and how shit just got crazy. And so Safari is like, oh, so that's how you ended up in Anais' room, and they all looking like, say what now? And Rich is like, wait, what had happened? And Jacquay is like, well, I mean, you introduced me to her, whatever, this, that, and third. And, Safari is like, well, damn, how was I, supposed to know Rich introduced him and everything? Safari was stirring the pot this whole goddamn episode. But anyway, so Jacquay is like, listen, nothing happened or whatever. We was just talking. I was smoking my hookah, whatever, this, that, and third. And Rich acts like as if he was mad at first or whatever, but he goes over to Jacquay and starts hugging him and this, that, and the third. Like, it's cool. It's not a problem. And so Safari is like, well, listen, you need to tell Cayenne what happened. So, like, the next day or whatever, or I assume it's the next day, they all, the Creep Squad, they working out at the park and everything, because when they were at the club, Safari was telling them like, yeah, since I've been back here in New York, I've been kind of slacking on my working out or whatever, so I want all of us to start working out together and everything, this, that, and the third. So they about, they goofing off, playing around, Self sitting up here eating donuts, and looked like he was drinking too or whatever, and they all just playing around. So they say that they about to go running or whatever, and Jacquay is like, well, I'll meet up with y'all because I gotta do something or whatever. And they like, where are you going? And he like, well, I gotta meet up with Cayenne by the the fountain area or whatever. And so the guys, they're like, you didn't tell her that you got topped off or whatever. And he like, man, y'all know I told y'all ain't nothing happened, this, that, and the third. And so he goes over to have a conversation with Cayenne. And so conveniently, the rest of Creep Squad, they running and see Jacquay talking to her. So then they go over there. They, trying to hide or whatever and watch Jacquay as he's having a conversation with Cayenne. And so he's telling Cayenne about, Anais or whatever. And, he's just kind of beating around the bush about it. And he's like, listen, we was in the same bed, but nothing happened. And Cayenne, y'all know how she do, just the firecracker, she starts about to go off or whatever. And Jacquay didn't tell us this part of the story, but he says that Anais showed him her vagina. And, that's when Cayenne really started to flip. And he's like, listen, but I curved her or whatever, this, that, and the third. And Cayenne, she's walking away. And Jacquay is chasing after her. And, she feels like she's looking stupid. And, as he's chasing after her again, the Creep Squad start chasing after him so they could get closer to the conversation. And, next thing you know, as they're having the conversation or whatever, and Jacquay is like, listen, I can't let you go. Let's work this out or whatever and everything. She notices the Creep Squad in the cut, and she's like, what is this, a fucking joke? And she's over it, and she walks away or whatever. And, he's still trying to follow her and everything, trying to, get her to, talk to him or whatever. And she's over it at the moment. But like I told y'all, Jacquay and Cayenne, they still rocking. And, if y'all go on their Instagram pages, they still rocking. So, but Jacquay tells them, man, y'all fucked me up here. Y'all are all up in the cut and shit. Like, Rich, she saw your motherfucking ass first and everything. And so, they was like, well, what happened? What you say? Or whatever, this, that, and third. And then he tells them, well, I told her, Anais showed me, her vagina. And they all like, man, you ain't tell us all of that. You ain't even tell us all of that happened and everything. And he's like, I know. And that was the episode, you guys. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you guys come back. I will see you guys tomorrow for Love and Hip Hop Miami. Share here, share there, share every motherfucking where. And I will see y'all tomorrow. All right, y'all.